Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Thankful Thursday, Transformation Thursday, Triumph and Trample Over the Enemy Thursday. I'm excited to be with you all this morning. You know the drill. Welcome to all of my builders, all of my visionaries, all of those that are creating your now. Good to see you on this Thursday. Do me a favor. Will you click like, tag, and share in this broadcast? So, like the broadcast, if you're on Facebook, tag three people in, click share to your page, share to your groups, let them know that we're on for creating your now for our time of arise and build. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like the video and hit that subscribe button. You need to be subscribed to this Creating Your Now channel. We're here every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. if you're on the East Coast, and that is 4 a.m. if you're on the West Coast. We're right here on Arise and Build. And if you have not joined us in the school app community platform, you can click the link in the description of the video and you can join right there. It's free. It's a community of uh, Bible-based believers who are ready to build the life that they desire and they deserve in Christ. And we want to welcome you to that community. I'm excited about all the things that we're going to share in that community as we continue to build and continue to do more that the Lord has called us to do. All right. So take a moment, like, tag, share, like, and subscribe. Join the school community right there. Welcome to Thursday, day 4 of this week. I'm excited about it. I'm going to open up with something that will shift how you see growth. I want to open that up today. And so we're going to talk today about maturity is measured by ownership. When you own it, that's how we can decide, that's how we can determine that we've walked into another level of maturity. So something that will shift how you see growth. Maturity is not about age. It's not about how long you've been saved. It's not about how gifted you are. It's not about how many exploits you've done for the kingdom. Maturity is measured by ownership. Immature people explain, always having to explain, while mature people just respond by obeying God. Immature people point outward, them, while mature people look inward and ask, what part of me do I need to bring to steward what God has called me to? What part of this is mine to steward? What part of this situation, what part of this space I'm in is mine to own and to steward? Growth begins the moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you start asking, what is it trying to produce in me? God is not the author of confusion. He does not make evil things happen to you. However, he does allow things in life because there's a purpose and a plan that he has for us, and it is bigger than us. It is a plan of good and not of evil, plan to prosper, of hope and an expected end. The Bible says that all things work together for the good of those who are called and loved according to the word of the Lord. And so I'm excited because even when bad things happen to me in my life, in my situation, I am mature enough now to begin to look at what is the Lord trying to get out of me? Why did the Lord allow this to happen? And what is he trying to produce in me so that I can have what's necessary for the next step? David rejected, abandoned, left to tend to the sheep. But it was all purposeful. The Lord allowed it all to happen so that he could be his chosen king. I know it didn't feel good and it does not feel good as you go through, navigate, try to heal from things that have happened to us in our past, even some in our present. But our maturity says, what is God trying to produce in us in this hour? What does God want to do through us? What does he call us to? Mordecai said it to Esther like this: could it be that the Lord called you into the kingdom for such a time as this? There was something that the Lord wanted to get in you while he allowed those things to happen so that you could produce something in the kingdom. Our truth number one is that giftedness is not the same as growth. Giftedness is not the same as growth. You can be talented and still be immature. You can be anointed and still always avoiding responsibility. In fact, I believe most of the churches like this, we're anointed and we're gifted and we're talented. And so we use that to stay immature, use that to avoid responsibility and not be and grow and mature into the things that God called us to. But the Bible says that he gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be teachers, evangelists, pastors, so that there would be a perfecting or a maturing of the saints. Our gifts, our talents, and even our callings is not a sign of our maturity, but it is given to us so that we can mature. We can't avoid responsibility, though. We have to begin to start owning what it is in our lives. If you're going to create your now, if you're going to go on this journey with us, and I pray that you will go on this journey with us, even when we open up the partnership and we open up the mentorship. I pray that some of you all will join in on those levels. But if you're going to go with this, go with us in this regard, then you're going to have to understand that God has a corner, a field, a garden, if you will, that he is calling you to ownership and stewardship of. You need to own what God has called you to. You need to own what God has allowed you to go through. You need to own what you have been through so that you can steward the calling, the purpose, and the plan that's on your life in this season. Gifts get attention. When you're gifted and talented, people come to you. It gets attention, it gets notoriety, it gets influence. People flock to it. But ownership builds capacity. A lot of us want attention. We want the clicks, we want the likes, we want the follows. But we don't have a capacity to really do and build and bring into the kingdom what God's calling us to do. And so we need to understand that while gifts get attention and while we can get influence this way, it will not produce capacity. Many people want influence without responsibility. We want platforms without process. We want impact without accountability. But that's just not going to sustain long term. While influence will get us, while we can pursue fast influence and we can get the platforms and we can get the impact, it will not be sustainable long term unless we take on responsibility, unless we endure the process, and unless we stand accountable to the Father about the things that He's called us to do. Okay. We as builders understand this, that authority follows ownership. If we want authority in the earth realm, we got to take ownership of what the Lord has given us, what the Lord has allowed in our lives. A lot of us are avoiding our past. We're avoiding what we've been through. We're avoiding the journey and the pathway that we came down. But until we take ownership, yeah, I went through that. Yeah, I may have did that. Yeah, I may have been there. Yeah, I may have said that. Until we take ownership, we can never have a real authority in the kingdom. Your past does not disqualify you. And when you take ownership of your past and stop letting your past own you, you will be able to walk in another level of authority in the kingdom. But many of us, the enemy has us being owned by our past. He has us being controlled by our past. He has us being ruled and governed by that. And so we continue to operate on that level because it has ownership of us. And we don't have ownership of it. But the moment we can get ownership of it, we will see that authority follows that. It will give us another realm of authority in the realm of the spirit. The more you own, the more God can trust you with. The more you acknowledge, yep, I did that. This is how I feel. This is what I did. This is where I was. This is where I am. The more you can own that, the more God can trust you. This is why you can't hide from God. You need to be real and honest with Him. Not that He doesn't already know, but it takes ownership of it. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. Some of you all right now, I'm trying not to be prophetic, but some of you all right now, the depression you feel is really your anger and your sadness and your frustration with the enemy, with God. But if you would acknowledge that, then you can let go of the depression. But the church doesn't tell us those things. Don't question God was what my grandmother used to say. And sometimes you just need to have a real dialogue with God so that you can understand that He is not absent of your feelings. However, He has a purpose and a plan and an assignment for your life. If you want to grow, you don't ask for more visibility. You take more responsibility. I'll say that again. And I want you to take this in your notes because you need to know this all 2026 as we continue to go on this journey of creating your now. That if you want to grow, you don't need more visibility. I know you think I need to be in front of more people. I need to have a greater audience. I need to get more followers. I need to get more people that will listen to me. I need to do those things. But the reality is all you need to do is take more responsibility. The more responsibility you take, the more God can trust you, the more that He will give to you. To whom much is given, much is required. When you're faithful over a few, He can make you ruler over much. So you simply need to take on more responsibility, not more visibility, because if you take on more visibility without processing through, you're just going to be a more visible mess. And that's why we have all of these people that have great influence and their lives is a train wreck in front of everybody with all that great visibility. If you were more visible where you are right now, you would be a hindrance to the kingdom, not a blessing. You need to take more responsibility. You need to do more soul work. You need to come through healed a little more so that the greater you take responsibility, the more visibility, the more growth, the more impact, the more platform, and the more influence the Lord can release to you, trust you with. Truth number two. Truth number two. Ownership creates stability. Ownership creates stability. Immaturity is unstable. It shifts with emotion. It blames when pressured. It quits when challenged. This is the instability of immaturity. But ownership stabilizes you. Ownership stabilizes you. When you can own your life, you can own your choices, you can own your growth, you can own your healing. You stop being tossed by circumstances. So this is the time, this is the place, this is the season that we need to begin to own our lives, own our choices, own our growth, own our healing, so that we're not tossed to and fro by circumstance. We're not tossed by what's happening. We're not tossed by what we're faced with. You may not can control everything and every person around you, but you can control how you respond. You can control how you respond. Mature builders don't wait for perfect conditions. They create stability in imperfect ones. Now, wait a minute. Everything around you can be unstable, but the mature you says, I can create stability in unstable places. I can create stability in unstable structures. You can't control all of the elements around you, people, places, and things, but you can control and be stable in your response. How do you do that? You take on more responsibility and you take ownership of who God called you to be. Even when a woman cuts you off on the road, even when they talk to you crazy, you need to take ownership of who God called you to be. Take ownership of your choices in that moment. Take ownership of your growth. You're not that person from the projects. You're not that person from the back side of the mountain anymore. Take ownership of your healing. Rejection and abandonment don't control you anymore. And create a stability in imperfect conditions. That's real leadership. That's real growth. That's real maturity. Truth number three. God promotes those who take responsibility. God promotes those who take responsibility. In the kingdom, promotion is not about charisma. I know in the world we make it about charisma. They're more charismatic, they're more outgoing, they're more a people's person. And so we promote them, we put them out front, we put them in leadership, we give them a title, we honor them, all of those things. But that's not real kingdom promotion. Because real kingdom promotion is about capacity and character. Real kingdom promotion is about capacity and character. God entrusts more to those who prove they can carry what's already in their hand. All right, y'all like, tag, and share this. Tag some people in here who need to hear this. God entrusts more to those who prove that they can carry what's already in their hand. Now I'm gonna say something. Look straight ahead. Don't make any sudden movements. Don't even put a comment. Don't even touch the keyboard. The reason why God has not entrusted more to us is because we have not proven that we can carry what's already in our hands. Let me tell you how I know. Because at every given moment, you're saying, well, I just need $10,000. Well, I just need $500. Well, I just need more people. Well, I just need, and you're spending more time saying what you don't have instead of acknowledging and utilizing what's already in your hand. Yeah, you don't have the perfect conditions. Yeah, it would be better if you had more. Yeah, you could do greater if you had more. But can you prove what you can do with what you have? No, because you're spending more time saying what you don't have than actually acknowledging and moving forward with what you have. That's why the prophet asked the widow woman, yeah, I know you sobbing. I know the debt collector's coming after your children. I know your husband died. He did not address any of those things with her. Yes, you may call it rude. You may say it's impolite. The woman was grieving. She was frustrated. He didn't even acknowledge it. He didn't even sit with it. He didn't even woo her feelings and tend to her emotions. He went right for what she needed, capacity and character. What do you have? Let's stop talking about what you don't have. Let's stop talking about what the circumstance is. Let's stop talking about what the situation is. Let's stop talking about the debt collectors coming after you. Let's stop talking about futuristic woes and past disappointments and present grief. And let's start talking about, what do you have? God entrusts more when you can prove that you can carry what you have. She said, I have a little jar of oil. And he put her to the test. He says, now here's the test that you can handle what you have. Go borrow pots. Don't borrow a few, but borrow many. He put her to the test. What do you have in your house? What do you have in your hands already? Put that to the test so that God can release more to you. When she went and borrowed pots, capacity, the oil that she had flowed for as many pots as she went and borrowed. When you can prove what you have in your hand, you can do something with, God will keep putting his super on your natural. She took what she had and she began to work her corner until she cornered her market. When you stop making excuses and start making adjustments, heaven will take a notice and God will put his super on your natural. Ownership tells God, I'm ready to steward more. Have your actions, your deeds, your conversation, your heart posture been telling God that you're ready to steward more? Complaints closes doors, but responsibility will open them. Become responsible for what you have in your hand and watch God open doors. This is not in our homework assignment yet, but let me give you an addition to your homework. For the next 24 hours, I want you to practice this. Just for the next 24 hours. Don't complain about anything. And every time you get ready to complain, I don't have, I did, I need, I whatever, I want you to, instead of complaining, observe what you have in that area and then ask yourself, what can I do to prove to God that that I can be trusted with more? I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Okay. What can you do with the money you have? Where can you sow? Where can you save? And where can you spend wisely to prove to God that He can trust you with more? So every area for the next 24 hours that you naturally want to complain in, even if you slip and complain, I want you to snatch that complaint out the atmosphere. And then I want you to turn around and think about, what do I have in the area I'm complaining about? And what can I do to prove to God He can trust me with more? Okay. Our homework assignment, that was an addition to the homework assignment, our real homework assignment. You need to write down, where in your life have you been avoiding ownership? Where in your life have you been avoiding ownership? You've not taken ownership. It's everybody else's fault I'm in this situation. It's everybody else's fault. They did this. They said this. I was abandoned. I was rejected. They left me. They hurt me. They betrayed me. They did all. Where are you avoiding ownership at? Where are you avoiding responsibility at? Is it in your growth, in your finances, in your health? Wait a minute. I'm on my way to the gym right now. Is it in your relationships? Is it in your calling? Somewhere you're refusing to take ownership and say, this is what God called me to do, but I'm finding every reason to avoid that, or to avoid doing it at the measure that He's called me to do. Then ask yourself, what does taking responsibility look like in that area? And what can I do this day, this week, and this month to begin to take responsibility in those areas? For me, it was health. I got it in all areas, but one of my most immediate ones is health. So I got to take ownership. I'm back to walking 3 to 5 miles a day. No sodas, no sweets. Let's cut out some of that bread, carbs. I realized that I was blaming everything about getting bigger instead of my own addiction to sugar. I realized I was addicted to sugar. Let me tell you how I realized I was addicted to sugar, because for 48 hours, I didn't have any. And I had this massive headache, like I was going through withdrawals. And I realized that sugar was like crack. That's why every morning I got to go get a Starbucks drink. That's why I got to have a cake, a cookie, a pie. What area have you been avoiding ownership in? And what can you do today, this week, and this month to take responsibility? For me, it was getting up. Okay, it's cold outside. It's 30 something degrees today, or 24, something like that. 25 degrees here. Okay, I can't let that stop me. I need to get up and drive to the gym. I need to take responsibility. Maturity begins with one decision, and that's you becoming more responsible. You're not growing because time passes. You grow when you take responsibility. This is the season you need to stop managing your impression, stop managing impressions, and start managing outcomes. In other words, you need to stop managing how people perceive you. Oh, I want to I want to impress them. I want them to see me. I want them to know me. I want them. And you need to take and start managing outcomes. What do I need to do to produce the outcome I want? Because we don't just talk about change, we own it. And ownership is the gateway to authority. When you own your circumstance, when you own your choices, when you own how you, let me rephrase that. When you own how you respond to your circumstances, when you own your choices, when you own your decisions, when you own your walk, you have a real authority. That's the gateway, the doorway, the path to real authority. Let me give you declarations. We're over time today. I choose maturity. I take ownership of my life. I grow through responsibility. I steward what God has given me, and I create my now. I choose maturity. I take ownership of my life. I grow through responsibility. I steward what God has given me. I create my now. Will you do me a favor? Remember to like, tag, and share this broadcast on Facebook. Tag 3 people in it. Let them know they need to come listening to the replay of this. And if you're listening to the replay, tag 3 more people in it. Let them know that they need to come and hear this replay. Make sure you like this. And if you're not following the Rev J. Daniels page, will you take a moment to follow it right here on Facebook? Somebody may have invited you to this broadcast, but will you take a moment to follow, subscribe, turn on notifications to the Rev J. Daniels right here on Facebook? And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like this broadcast and you subscribe to the YouTube, Create Your Now YouTube channel. And make sure that you all, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, you join the school community. It's free of charge. It's a community where we're going to dream, pray, and create. We're going to build the life that we desire and the one that we deserve in Christ Jesus. And so we're going to get up every morning from 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. on the East Coast, 4 a.m. on the West Coast, and we're going to arise and we're going to build. If you want to partner, donate, sow into this vision, into this ministry, into this podcast, into us taking this, creating your now city to city. You can do so by using the donation partnership and the seed opportunities that's in the description of this video on YouTube, and it is in the comments if you're on Facebook. There's Cash App, $ PreachREVinc, Venmo @PreachREVinc. If you want to give via PayPal, you can do so at PreachREVinc, or you can use the email address PreachREVinc@gmail.com to do so at PayPal. And if you want to give via Zelle, Apple Pay, or Google Pay, you could just use the email address officiallyjdaniels@gmail.com. Will allow you to do those things. More grace to you today. Go, grow, and glow. May his peace, his protection, and his provision be your portion. Remember to keep arising and keep building. Have a triumphant Thursday.